Sudowoodo has been a small feature of every single run we've done together here on this channel. Despite that, the only thing I've ever had to say about it is that it's a pest that gets in the way. It holds the distinction of being the first ever pure rock-type Pokémon, and I can think of no better run than run number 50 to finally show it some attention. As we're getting set up for the Sudowoodo run, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who has subscribed. In between APOM and this run, we hit 5,000 subscribers. That is a level that I never thought I'd reach when I first started posting videos here, and I can think of no better time to reach that number than just before our 50th run. To celebrate both milestones, I have a very special run planned in the not too distant future. I don't want to give too much away quite yet, but we will be doing a run with multiple Pokémon. I haven't quite figured out if it'll be a pre-recorded video or a stream, but please do make sure you're subscribed if you want to be notified when that happens. In the meantime, let's take a look at the stats of our Sudowoodo. We are level 5 with 23 HP. We're of course holding the berry, and we have Rock Throw and our signature move Mimic. And in the stats department we have 15 in attack, 16 in defense, just 9 in special attack, 12 in special defense, and 8 in speed. And with the base stat totals on screen now, you can see we are very lopsided. We don't have any speed at all, and we don't have any special attack, so we're going to be relying purely on physical attacks, which is a shame because we do learn the punches. And our first encounter on this run was a level 2 Pidgey. We easily took care of that with a single Rock Throw, and that quite nicely demonstrates the huge advantage that Sudowoodo has at the beginning of this game. Being the rock type, we resist a lot of early game Pokemon because we resist normal type moves, and in addition to that, rock is super effective against the lion's share of Pokemon we're going to be coming up against in the early game. In the meantime though, I'm going to tell you I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Cyndaquil with Sudowoodo. I chose Cyndaquil this time to give us a little bit of a change from the Rhydon run, and we've easily defeated that Totodile in just a couple of hits. We'll make our way back into New Bark Town and tell the police officer in Professor Elm's laboratory that the rival's name is triple question mark. We've called him this ever since the very first run, and we're not going to be changing that 50 runs in. We'll get the Pokeballs from Professor Elm's aid, and the challenge run has well and truly begun now. Our first destination, of course, is going to be Violet City. This is the home of our first gym together, but before we get to Falconer, we've got to get through his gym trainers. Against the second trainer here, we grow up to level 10, and at level 10 we learn our first level up move. It's Flail, which isn't particularly useful, but it's always nice to have a little bit of coverage. But right now we're taking on Falconer. This is our first gym leader together, a flying type specialist who led with Pidgey. We one-shot the Pidgey, we one-shot the Pidgeotto, Mudslap didn't matter, and we get our first badge in a record-breaking time of 4 minutes and 49 seconds. So whatever happens for the rest of the run now, Sudowoodo can be proud knowing that he is the fastest Pokemon through badge number 1. As we're making our way towards Azalea Town and the Ilex Forest, I've got a little question for you. Which out of the 50 runs we've done so far has surprised you the most? For me, it absolutely has to be Smeargle. I was expecting a time of over 3 hours, so to get it under the 2-hour mark was quite spectacular. In the meantime though, we have found our first HM friend. This is Paris, who's going to be helping us out with Cuts, Dig, Flash and potentially Sweet Scent. And the second HM friend in the forest today is Psyduck. Psyduck's going to be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Whirlpool and Waterfall. And with those two HM friends safely put away in our pockets, we can make our way into the second gym. This is Bugsy's Bug-type gym, and he leads with Metapod. Once again, just like Falconer, we have the type advantage with Rock Throw, so we one-shot the Metapod, we one-shot the Scyther, we grow to level 18, and then out comes Kakuna. Kakuna's our third one-shot in 3 Pokemon, so we get Bugsy's badge in a time of 10 minutes and 59 seconds. Of course though, we cannot let the celebrations go on for too long because the second rival battle is just around the corner. This one is notoriously difficult if you're weak to one of the starter types, so let's just give it a go. This is Rival 2 and he leads with Ghastly. Ghastly gets us off to a horrible start by sending us to sleep straight away, and then he gets to licking us. Fortunately though, it was a very short sleep, but I did mess up my strategy of trying to mimic hypnosis. In the end, we got Lick, which is neither use nor ornament, so we're just going to have to start throwing rocks at things. The berry saved our life there as we're down to 7 HP as the Zubat comes out. We keep everything crossed that Bite doesn't flinch, which it doesn't. The Rock Throw hits, and we knock it out in one shot, and we are through Rival 2 on our very first attempt. For a Rock-type Pokemon, that is mightily impressive. Our reward for that is getting Cut from the Charcoal Maker, and we're also going to get Headbutt. Flail's a little bit too circumstantial to use here on a challenge run, so we're going to replace it with Headbutt, which is a lovely base 70 power move, and even though we won't outspeed much, there are going to be times where the flinching might come in very, very handy. And now that we're out of the other side of the forest, we can catch our third HM friend. This one is Abra, who technically isn't a HM user, but he's an honorary HM user as Teleport's his budget fly until we're able to get Kenya the badge a little bit later on. We'll pick up the bike from the bike shop, and I am still a strong advocate of using the bike. I've learned how to make my movement relatively smooth now, and I've found it sped up my runs quite significantly. We'll grab Kenya from the guard at the gate, and we'll make our way into the national park. Of course, the first thing we'll grab in the national park is the Quick Claw, and that gets glued onto our Sudowoodo. I don't think we're going to be holding on to much else for the rest of the run. We'll grab Dig from the national park, and then we'll have a little chat with Floria. We're not going to freak her out by showing her what's in our Pokeball, but instead we're going to make our way to get Rollout. And I just wanted to show this. On our way to get Rollout, I didn't have a repel on, and I ended up finding the 1% Yanma. That's the first time I've found a 1% in any of these runs, and I found that a little bit interesting. But we must move on very quickly to our third gym together. This is Whitney, the normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. Clefairy's weak to low kicks, so we kick it in the shins, and then we start hoofing the cow. The cow goes down in just 3 shots as Rollout doesn't build very hard, and we get our third badge in a time of 17 minutes and 1 second. And very quickly, thank you to everyone in the comments who pointed out that Rock doesn't resist Rock. It's one of those type matchups that never sits in my brain for some reason. Anyway, we're going to have a little chat with Floria and her sister. We'll get the Squirts bottle, and then it's time to say hello to our tree twin. But this is the pesky Snorlax that blocks our way in every single run, so that calls for just one thing. We gave it a bit of bish, they gave it a bit of bosh, but our bish was bigger than their bosh, so they went down. And now that we've taken care of that pesky tree, we can head into Ecruteak City and into the dance theatre. As always, I'll show you the battle we were weakest against, and in this instance, it was against the Vaporeon. There was no danger at all of us fainting there as we knock it out in 2 rock throws, and we can get our reward, the Surf HM from the man staring at the stage. So we'll now take a trip east towards the Lake of Rage. We head through the Mount Mortar, beating up a couple of Nidoking en route. We'll grab the rare candy next to the Hidden Power House, and we'll also pick up Hidden Power at the same time. Our Hidden Power type this time is Flying. We'll teleport back to Ecruteak City and start taking care of some of the bits to the west. We'll grab the Mince Berry from the Moo Moo Farm along with the nuggets so that we can buy some vitamins later on. And seeing as we're already in the neighbourhood, we might as well pick up strength from the man in the cafe and ascend the lighthouse. There isn't too much of a time lost by doing things in this order, and in some instances you actually gain time by having the higher levels. We've got the rare candy in the lighthouse as well, and that was the last thing we needed to do before we can take a cycle to the Burnt Tower. This is where our third rival battle is waiting for us, and each time his team gets a little bit worse, but a little bit more frustrating. He's going to lead with Haunter this time, and there's no way we're outspeeding the Haunter without the Quick Claw, and that means that we are getting cursed. We're on a clock for the rest of the battle as the Croconaw comes out. We take a little bit of curse damage as he leers us, and we finish it off in 2 shots. Magnemite is next, and Low Kick is super effective, so that's no issue, and his final Pokemon is Zubat. Quick Claw activates, we outspeed, and we knock it out in a single hit, and I think we got a little bit lucky in that battle. It could definitely have gone an awful lot worse, so I'm not going to complain. We fell through the floor and released the beasts, and that means there's only one thing left to do in Ecruteak City. We're going to go to our 4th gym together. This is Morty's Ghost-type gym, and he will lead with Ghastly. Our Quick Claw activates on turn 1, and that means that Rock Slide is a one-shot without us getting cursed. We don't outspeed the Haunter, however, and Rock Slide misses. That means we are now cursed and have taken a little bit of damage as the Gengar comes out. We easily one-shot the Gengar as it looks at us funny, and the final Pokemon is Haunter. Haunter doesn't damage us, so we got through in another one-shot, and we get the Fog Badge in a time of 27 minutes and 46 seconds. A little bit of good fortune happened again in that battle, but I am not going to complain. Now we're going to make our way over to Scionwood City next. We've got a couple of bits and bobs to do over there, and the first thing of course we're going to do is head into the dodgy shop. This is where the illegal secret potion is waiting for us, so we'd better hide that straight away in our key items pocket and hope that nobody searches us en route. We'll take on the gym while we're here, and just before we take on Chuck himself, we're going to say goodbye to our signature move Mimic, and we're going to replace it with Hidden Power Flying. That should help this battle go an awful lot smoother. It's Chuck, our 5th gym leader, together, and he leads with Primeape. Primeape didn't even get a chance to get a hit in, and out comes the Poliwrath. The Poliwrath sees our water weakness and ends up surfing, but it's 2 shots with Hidden Power to knock it out, and we get the Storm Badge in a time of 30 minutes and 33 seconds. We'll leave the gym, grab Fly from Chuck's wife, and I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about Hidden Power and why I use it on my runs. I've always seen Hidden Power as a way to patch up a Pokemon's learn sets. In the earlier generations, particularly in generations 2 and 3, your learn set is incredibly limited. So Hidden Power is a little bit of a Swiss Army knife that lets me personalise the Pokemon and helps save my sanity by getting through in a quicker time than I otherwise would have been able to. But while we've been chatting away there, we beat up the Rockets in Mahogany's Underground and we've gotten the Whirlpool HM from Lance, and there's one last thing for us to do here in Mahogany Town. That's take on Price, our 6th gym leader together. He's an Ice-type specialist who will lead with Seal. Now Seal comes out and isn't weak to Rock-type moves because it's pure water, so we're going to use a Hidden Power to take off a little bit of damage and finish it off with a Headbutt. Out comes the Piloswine and we use Low Kick. If I've done my maths correctly, which is always a little bit of an issue, Low Kick will do about 10% more damage than Rock Slide because of the ground typing on Piloswine. He gets caught in a healing loop and we knock it out with another Low Kick, and then we'll swap to Rock Slide for the Dugong. Of course we had to miss on turn 1, but we get a lovely critical hit on turn 2. We defeat Price and we get the Glacier badge in a time of 36 minutes and 26 seconds. We're on a little bit of a roll here, so we're going to make our way back up the lighthouse and give the secret potion to Jasmine. She grabs that torch from her handbag, blinds us, and then pretends that Amphi is alright. So we'll pursue her very quickly into the Olivine gym where she is waiting for us. Jasmine, of course, is our 7th gym leader. She's a Steel-type specialist, and she leads with Magnemite. Now we have the type advantage over the Magnemite with our Low Kick move, and it goes down in one shot, but here comes Steelix. Steelix's Iron Tail is super effective. She gets a critical hit on us, and we take our first 2 resets of the run. We get rid of the Magnemite again on attempt number 3, and here comes the Steelix once more. Iron Tail deals less than half damage this time, and we get a flinch on turn 2. Then to make matters worse for Jasmine, we get a critical hit, she misses, and we knock it out on our 4th turn, and we're on to the last Magnemite. That's a very easy one-shot, so in just 2 resets we get through Jasmine's battle, and we get the Mineral Badge in a time of 38 minutes and 15 seconds. We've got 7 badges now, and that means we can do a little bit of housekeeping. We'll pick up the rare candy just east of the Sprout Tower, and while we're in the neighbourhood we're also going to grab Flash. There are times where I feel grabbing Flash later will be beneficial to the Pokemon, but in this instance it just felt right to get it now. We'll head over to Azalea Town and pick up the King's Rock from the man in the Slowpoke well. It's going to be very circumstantial as to as and when we can use that, but it's still nice to have. We'll get the rare candy on Route 34 just south of the daycare, and now that we've got all the optional items that we'll need for a little while, we'll head back to Goldenrod City and we'll take on our 4th rival battle. His team's got a little bit chunkier but still has no cohesion, and this time he leads with Golbat. Golbat outspeeds but doesn't confuse us, instead biting us, and that means it's an easy one-shot. Feraligatr still only has Water Gun and it's barely a dribble, that means we take very little damage. We can low kick the Magnemite into next week, and out comes Haunter. We're going to use Rock Slide against the Haunter as it looks at us funny, and the final Pokemon is Sneasel. Sneasel's 4 times weak to fighting type moves, so it goes out with a whimper instead of a bang, and we defeat the rival in a time of 46 minutes. We'll now ascend to the top of the radio tower where we'll rescue the director. We'll get the pink bow off Marie, we'll get the Sunny Day TM from the green-haired lass on this floor, and we'll also go and pick up the radio card. It's very important that we get the radio card so that we don't get trapped in Kanto, and with nothing else to do in the western part of Johto, we'll take a trip to Mahogany, and we'll start going east. In the ice path, we're going to pick up HM07, which is Whirlpool. Because of our quite frankly pitiful special attack, there's no need for the Nevermelt Ice this time, so it's just a one and done in the ice path, and we can make our way to Claire's gym. She's our 8th gym leader together, she's a Dragon-type specialist, and she leads with Dragonair. We use Rock Slide against the Dragonair, but we get paralysed by Thunder Wave because it doesn't seem to be a one-shot, so we're going to leave and we're going to get a couple of levels. There are plenty of trainers down to the south of Blackthorn, so this should only take a couple of minutes, and it will make the Claire fight a lot more reliable. We end up getting the level up against Cool Trainer Kelly and her pair of Wartortle and Amaril. We grow to level 48, and this should be more than enough now to take on Claire. Rock Slide was a range at level 47, but because she's got 3 identical Dragonair, I didn't want to risk it, and having such easy access to a level up, I thought it was a bit of a no-brainer. So for the second time, this is Claire who leads with Dragonair. We use Rock Slide against Dragonair number 1 and it's an easy one-shot. Out comes the Kingdra and she takes us deep into the yellow. We don't outspeed on either turn and that means I'm going to change strategy. At this point, Headbutt is a little bit surplus to requirements, so we're going to teach that Sunny Day TM we got from the radio tower. That means that Claire's Kingdra cannot do as much damage, and in place of Quick Claw we now have the Paralysed Cure Berry. That means we can set up the Sunny Day and Rock Slide the Dragonair as normal, and now look at how little damage Surf is doing in comparison. We easily tank a couple of Surfs to knock out the Kingdra, and now we've just got 2 Dragonair left to go. As long as Rock Slide hits on both turns, which it does, we have no issues whatsoever, and we defeat Claire in a time of 57 minutes and 1 second. But our lack of special defense is really showing now. We're weak to both grass and water, and we have grass and water gyms coming up in Kanto. Johto is all about the physical attackers, and Kanto is all about the special attackers. So we've had it very easy in the first half of the run, but now the difficulty is going to ramp up. However, before taking on some difficult battles, let's go and get ourselves Earthquake from Victory Road. We'll replace Earthquake with Sunny Day because Sunny Day is renewable in the Celadon City department store, and then we'll take on one of the easiest battles we'll have in quite some time, as this is the 5th and final rival battle. It is of course Rival 5, and this time he leads with Sneasel. We give the moves a little bit of a shuffle around and accidentally pick Rock Slide instead of Low Kick. He screams bloody murder back at us, but we still manage to take it out in one shot, and here comes Feraligatr. Feraligator's still only got Water Gun, so that was very easy, and then we Earthquake the Magneton. Up next is Haunter. Haunter doesn't have Levitate, so it's an easy one-shot with Earthquake, and his penultimate Pokemon is Kadabra. Kadabra foresees some pain for Sudowoodo in the future, but we knock it out with an Earthquake. We go to Rock Slide for the Golbat, and we're through the rival for the 5th and final time in a time of 1 hour, 1 minute and 55 seconds. And with that, we are at the Pokemon League. We'll heal up our Sudowoodo, and now it's time to say thank you to the HM friends. It's thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and merci to Paris. They've all been a great help in the Johto region, and they're getting some well-deserved rest as Sudowoodo takes on the league all by himself. Before we take on the league though, let's take a look at our stats. We are level 52 with 157 HP. We're holding the Quick Claw, and our moves are Rock Slide, Earthquake, Low Kick, and Hidden Power Flying. We have 145 in attack, 157 in defense, just 68 in special attack, 104 in special defense, and a miserable 68 in speed. Let's see if that is enough to take us through the league. Our first obstacle is Mr. Saint Germain himself. It's Will, the Psychic type specialist, who leads with Xatu. Xatu instantly confuses us, and that is a really bad start. On attempt number 2 though, we Rock Slide it with the Quick Claw, and we're on to the Executor. Hidden Power Flying is not a one-shot though, and we get seeded. This really is not going well for us at all, because now we are on a clock. It's a slower clock than Curse, but this Slowbro knew how to stall us. He flinched on turn 1, but then he started swearing in a different language entirely. He wasn't cutting his HP, but he was slowing us down. We went down to Leech Seed, and we have to try again. We get confused, but this time I'm holding the Bitter Berry, and that seems to be the play. That gave us a much more consistent into the start of this battle. We're getting to the Executor, and this time it reflected. I can deal with Reflect because we don't have passive draining HP. Combine that with a critical hit at just the right moment, so we get rid of the Slowbro and we're on to the Jinx. We use Rock Slide against the Jinx as she slaps us 3 times, and that means she's an easy one-shot. The final Pokemon is Xatu, but we get confused once more. Psychic hits us for huge damage, but we break through the confusion to knock it out, and we're through Will in a time of 1 minute and 5 seconds. That was a really tough battle against Will. Let's see if Koga's any better. We use Hidden Power Flying against the Ariados, and it's a one-shot. Here comes the Fortress. We use Low Kick on turn 1, and then we swap to Earthquake. It's going to be about 3 or 4 Earthquakes, but I'm not worried about Fortress going boom. We could easily tank that with our huge defense. We use Earthquake against the Muk to take care of that in one shot, and out next is Crobat. Crobat's a little bit peskier because he Toxics us on turn 1, but Rock Slide connects to get a lovely one shot, and his final Pokemon is Venomoth. We're poisoned and confused at the same time, but we hit through the confusion, we knock out the Venomoth in one shot, and we are through to Bruno. This is going to be the hardest physical challenge in all of this run. The odds really are stacked against us in this battle. We're slow and that means we take damage from the Hitmonlee, and also Mach Punch is a priority move so the Quick Claw wouldn't matter. And to make things even worse for poor Sudowoodo here, his final Pokemon is Machamp. We get through 4 Pokemon, surviving on 78 HP. Machamp comes out, takes one look at us after we hit it with Hidden Power Flying, and Cross Chop just completely decimates us. This is the trouble with battles like this where the final Pokemon is the hardest. It is a huge time sink. We lost an awful lot of time at Bruno compared to other runs. We do eventually get a little bit of good fortune in this battle as Hitmonlee went for double kick instead of high jump kick. That means we are in the green for the Machamp. Because the Onix is irrelevant, it's all about this final Pokemon. We hit it with Hidden Power and take it deep into the red. We survive on just 5 HP as he gets caught in the healing loop. And that means it's all over for Bruno. We finish it off with another Hidden Power. And we are through Bruno in a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 34 seconds. Up next is Karen, and it feels so good to have a fighting type move against the Umbreon. It didn't feel that good though, because on attempts numbers 1 and 2 we missed both times. On attempt number 3 though we flinch it so we have full accuracy for the rest of this battle. Hidden Power Flying easily takes care of the Vileplume so we're not getting paralysed, and then we swap to Earthquake for the Gengar. The Quick Claw activates and that means we outsped so we're not even on a clock. We outspeed the Murkrow and knock that out in one shot, and finally she's down to her last Houndoom. We swap to Earthquake because it's 100% accurate, we knock it out, and we get through Karen without taking any damage whatsoever. In terms of Karen battles, I don't think we can get much better than that. But now we are through the league and our final challenge between us and the Hall of Fame is awaiting us. It's the Liar with the Flyers who leads with Gyarados. We missed Rock Slide on attempt number 1, so we are back at it again on attempt number 2. We knock it out first try this time and he sends out Aerodactyl. Rock Slide misses for him and we easily take care of it in one shot. The level 50 Dragonite comes out and he uses Safeguard. We low roll and that means that Dragonite heals up. We get a much better roll on turn number 2 though, and we send the Dragonite packing. Charizard is 4 times weak to Rock Slide, so that quickly follows suit, and now we just have the 2 level 47 Dragonite left to go. The first Dragonite's Thunder misses, and that just means we have 1 Pokemon left. Thunder Wave misses as well, we knock it out in one shot, and we are through Lance with a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes and 38 seconds. And the time we register for the Hall of Fame is 1 hour, 9 minutes and 54 seconds. That is a very, very good time for Sudowoodo considering how much he struggled at will. We have definitely had a relatively easy start through the Johto region, but things are only going to get harder. We've got a bunch of special attackers to come, so don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we're back, where it all began outside our home in Newbark Town. Professor Elm wants to get rid of us quick, sharp and in a hurry, so he gives us the SS ticket so that we can get out of the country as quickly as we can. Before we do that though, we've got a couple of last bits to finish off here in Johto. We're going to welcome back the HM friends, so it's a warm welcome back to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and bienvenue to Paris. We're going to fly on back to Ecruteak City, we're going to surf east into Mount Malta and pick up our penultimate rare candy in the Johto region. We'll dig out and dip our heads in the Olivine City Pokemon Center, take a surf down to the Whirl Islands where our final rare candy is waiting for us. We pick that up and a hop, skip and a jump takes us into the Kanto region. And of course the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. With that safely tucked away with the other rare candies, we'll cycle north to Saffron City, where it's just a brief flying visit dipping our head in the Pokemon Center en route. We've actually got quite a busy time in Celadon City this time. We went to the department store to pick up another Sunny Day TM, we grabbed the leftovers from the bin and the PP up from the bush, and now it's time to take on our first Cantonian gym leader together. This is Erica, the grass type specialist who led with Tangela, but Tangela's so bad it went down before I finished my intro. Victory Bell easily followed suit and she sends out Blossom. Blossom cannot be saved from the ways of the flying tree, and so she tries with a Jumpluff. We get seeded, but that's not an issue at all because we easily one-shot it, and we're through Erica in a time of 1 hour, 14 minutes and 47 seconds. Up next though is Misty, and Misty could prove to be problematic. The Golduck however cannot survive an Earthquake, and we're on to the Quagsire. We carry on Earthquaking, but Quagsire is relatively bulky. It's a waste of a turn for her though, as she goes for Amnesia, and here comes the Starmie. Starmie really changes our fate in this battle because we cannot survive 2 hits from Surf. We're going to have to go back to our sunny daying ways. So it's a bittersweet goodbye to Low Kick, which saved us in many battles, and in its place comes Sunny Day. We're still going to take out the Golduck on our very first turn because we're going to set up against the Quagsire instead. We get the Sun out as she starts to Amnesia, wasting a turn, but then a little bit of an issue happens because she goes for Rain Dance. So the Rain is out as the Starmie comes out, but we then swap it back to Sunny Day, hitting through the confusion. We get a Quick Claw proc and manage to critical hit the Starmie. The stars really did align for the rest of this battle because we hit through confusion once more. We knock out the Lapras in one shot and we're through Misty in a time of 1 hour 21 minutes and 9 seconds. Here comes Sabrina. Sabrina is going to be faster than us, so hopefully we don't take too much damage. We get a Quick Claw proc against the Espeon, but we don't one-shot with Earthquake, so we are sand attacks for the rest of the battle as the Mr. Mime comes out. Mr. Mime uses Barrier, and this is just going all kinds of wrong as she baton passes into the Alakazam. Alakazam's got a very strong psychic attack and we run out of Earthquake PP. I decide to take the reset, use an Ether and try once more. We get sand attacked yet again and this is revenge for Karen. Sabrina was clearly on the phone to Karen while we were taking on Misty and Erica and decided to make our life as hard as possible. We do eventually get a bit of good fortune on our 4th attempt though. We get through the Alakazam and we get Sabrina's badge in a time of 1:23.10. Let's hope that's the hardest battle we have in Kanto as we move on to Lieutenant Surge. Now we have Earthquake, he has electric types. I can only see this going one way. The pesky Electrode comes out, it uses Double Team but we manage to hit through it. And here comes Magneton. We outspeed and take care of it with a 4-time super effective Earthquake, and we outspeed the second Electrode because of the Quick Claw. Electabuzz comes out to play, uses a Light Screen which is absolutely useless, and we get through Surge in a time of 1 hour 24 minutes and 53 seconds. The final gym leader in this rapid fire gauntlet is Brock, and all 5 of Brock's Pokemon are weak to Earthquake. So we say goodbye to Graveler and grow to level 63, and then Rhyhorn gives it a go. Rhyhorn doesn't do any better as we outspeed that, so he sends out an Omastar. Omastar doesn't get a chance to surf, so he sends out Kabutops instead. Kabutops also doesn't outspeed us, and the final Pokemon is Onix. Onix can't do anything at all either, so he defeats Brock in 5 one-shots, and we get the Boulder Badge in a time of 1 hour 26 minutes and 25 seconds. We take a cycle past the Viridian Hedge Maze, saying hello to 3Drill en route, and we start making our way towards Cinnabar Island. At Cinnabar Island, Blue is waiting for us. He's going to tell us all about this volcano that supposedly exploded, but someone in the comments suggested a theory that Blaine blew up Cinnabar Island in the hopes of getting closer to Mewtwo again. I really like that theory and I think they might be onto something. In the meantime though, we're going to have to beat up the culprit. This is Blaine, our 14th gym leader together, who led with Magcargo. Magcargo didn't put up any resistance whatsoever and neither did the Bumhead Fireduck. Here comes the Rapidash, the Quick Claw activates, we knock it out in one shot, and we're through Blaine in a time of 1 hour 27 minutes and 39 seconds. Our penultimate gym leader is everyone's favourite pushover, it's Janine. We outspeed the Crobat and take care of that in one shot, so she sends out the first of her 2 Weezing. That of course is not having Levitate in this generation, so both of those go down very easily, so she tries again with Ariados. We just stick with Earthquake because it's quicker than selecting Hidden Power Flying. We do the same against the Venomoth as she wastes some money on a dire hit, and we get the Soul Badge in a time of 1 hour 28 minutes and 33 seconds. Our final gym battle is against Blue. He's a mixed type leader who leads with Pidgeot. That's terrible for him because Pidgeot's weak to Rock Slide, so we easily one-shot it and he sends out Rhydon. Rhydon of course has no use at all using Sandstorm, so he goes straight for the Earthquake. We're still in the green as the Exeggutor comes out. We take our revenge against Exeggutor in 2 shots as it takes in the sunlight, and his next Pokemon is Alakazam. Alakazam is incredibly physically weak, the Quick Claw activates and we knock it out with a single Rock Slide, so Gyarados joins in the fun. Hydro Pump misses and he's weak to Rock Slide, so that goes down very easily, and suddenly he's on his last Pokemon. We get yet another Quick Claw to knock out the Arcanine in a single hit, and we get the Earth Badge in a time of 1 hour 29 minutes and 44 seconds. And with that, we have got all 16 gym badges. There's only one thing left to do. That's speak to Professor Oak and unlock Mount Silver. We are on a very good time for a Pokemon with such little special defense. So let me know, do you think we're going to be able to get through Red in under 2 hours? We're going to have to, of course, do the Charm Shuffle here because we are going to be slower than that Pikachu. Let me know in the comments below as I tell you that this is Red. He is our final battle of the game and he leads with Pikachu. The Pikachu comes out, uses Thunder straight away, but doesn't paralyze us. We get some useful information as we know that Rock Slide is a one-shot. Espeon Psychic though knocks us straight out. We have no option but to use some rare candy straight away. We're now up to level 68, let's see if we do any better. Pikachu's Charm misses and we are through to the Espeon once more. The Espeon really has a chance to slow us down as it uses Reflect and then hits us with Psychic. That means we at least get to take a look at the Venusaur. Rock Slide does next to nothing at all and Solar Beam just knocks us out. Let's use our next set of 3 rare candies. We'll see if we can get through at level 71. Part of the fun of these runs for me is seeing just what level we can get through at. That's why I tend to use the rare candies in the 3-3-4 pattern, because it's not all about the speed, it's about the journey you have along the way. We're back onto the Venusaur without Reflect, but Solar Beam just kicks us right out of the park. Let's try once more, this time using all of our rare candies. We get the Quick Claw proc against the Pikachu because we're never going to outspeed that. And here comes Espeon once more. Another Quick Claw activation with a critical hit means we're on full health for the Venusaur. It takes in Sunlight and then we get our 3rd Quick Claw activation and our 2nd critical hit of this battle. Blastoise comes out and we immediately counter his Rain Dance with Sunny Day. We get a Rock Slide off, but he has Rain Danced once more. We don't get the Quick Claw proc and we get one shot. That was devastating and I realised we needed to change strategy, because there is something relatively unknown about the Gen 2 AI. If you are in rollout and the enemy has a trapping move such as Fire Spin or Whirlpool, there is a 50% chance for the enemy to use it. We are always going to get demolished by Surf, however if we use rollouts there is a chance, and still a very slim chance because we've got to have 2 Pokemon use the trapping moves, that we are going to take next to no damage whatsoever. Rollout is also being incredibly more reliable. We get onto the Blastoise, we knock it out in one shot, and he sends out Snorlax. Our rollouts ended at the worst possible time, so we're dealing minimum damage against the Snorlax as he uses Amnesia twice. The Body Slam hits and of course it paralyzes us on turn 1. We've got nothing left we can do and we take another reset. We're going to try exploiting yet more of Red's AI here by starting with Sunny Day. That means that Thunder only has a 50% chance of hitting and Red will be discouraged from using it. That gets us through onto the Espeon in a much better position, but Psychic still deals huge damage. I think that rollout was definitely the play though, as the Venusaur takes in Sunlight but gets one shot and we are back onto the Blastoise. Blastoise uses Surf though because rollout ended and it's back to square one. We don't use Sunny Day this time because I want to try and get through as quickly as possible. It's 2-shot on the Pikachu and we're onto the Espeon. The Quick Claw procs, that means no Psychic damage and no Reflect damage. The Venusaur takes in Sunlight and we one-shot it once more. We're onto the Blastoise and he uses Whirlpool. That means we only took 27 HP of damage. Snorlax comes out and the rollout ends. It's now just about dodging the Body Slam paralysis. We get a lucky critical hit and Body Slam doesn't paralyze, but we miss the rollout. We get a critical hit ourselves though on our 2nd attempt at rollout, and it's all about the Charizard. Fire Spin misses, rollout's full-time super effective, we grow to level 76, and we defeat Red in a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes and 3 seconds. Goodness me, that rollout strategy really did pay dividends. It worked perfectly and we got ourselves 19th place on the leaderboard. And Sudowoodo's time means we have also filled up the entirety of page number 2. Magcargo is still at the very bottom in 50th place, and page 1 of course looks exactly the same at the moment. Kangaskhan is still in 1st place and Venusaur is next to go down in the drop zone. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for 50 amazing runs, and if you enjoyed this video, please do think about leaving a like. If you want to see more content just like this, then click the subscribe button. If you've got anything at all to say, leave it in the comments down below. In the meantime though, I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you all very soon.